Hello, this is BluRaven Houvener, writer and illustrator of the webcomics Is Just Another Day, and now the Year of Reflection. Hence that there's been a lot that's happened in the last couple years, and this is something that I did a couple years ago, where I would do kind of a retrospective of like publications I made, things I'd accomplished in the last year. And as it stands, no year has gone as big and as smooth as 2019. So this will be my personal 2019 comics retrospective. So I figure we're going to start right off. And few go bigger than this. This is It's Just Another Day, issue 0. It was years in the making. It features a crossover between my pseudo self-insert Jake and the amazing original character Ariane Elder. She has a comic series online. I'll have a link down below so that way you can check it out. Highly advise it. And it takes place about an hour or two before the starting events of It's Just Another Day. That one, the reason why I say it's huge is because, like I said, it was years in the making. Me and the artist for the Ariane Elder comics had done an art trade years back, and that was my half of it. And I touched it up over the years and everything, and really, tightened up the story and everything, and finished it too. That was a big thing. In addition to that, it was my first step into being a zinester now, as it's a comic zine, and I created it for Storming the Confusion, which was Confusion 2019, and I just gave it out for free. So yeah, there was so much going on with that, and it was a big step in my publishing and future publications that I made that same year. Now, I wish I remembered where the article came from, but it was one of those ins and outs and do's and don'ts list as far as independent publishing your comics. And it's funny because two of the things I did in 2019 were like high up on that list of things not to do, one of which was doing an issue 0, which I already talked about. Number 2 was variant covers. I say when you're just starting out not to do variant covers. And I kind of did that with the Penguicon special, there we go, the Penguicon special edition of It's Just Another Day, issue 1. So what happened was the printer I planned on going through, they had a bit of a waiting list going, so I wasn't going to have my comics done on time for Penguicon 2019. So I was like, crap, I need some comics, because I already had said that I was going to have some comics there, and just tried to be a man of my word. So I went through Kablam, and the experience was solid overall, and I got these comics done, and just to, really, pep it up, or kick it up a notch, bam, I have like a special, like shout-outs to the guests of honor that year. There's special little comics, including the Consent comic, which Consent is something that, well, we should be huge at every convention, but it's especially huge at Penguicon. So, yeah. I did the 2 things you're not supposed to do, and I think they all turned out pretty well. Issue 0, making a zine, handing it out for free, I think that went well. And then Penguicon special edition comic. And it sold quite a few copies, so I was very happy with that. And I've heard nothing but good feedback, so fingers crossed. And now we get to the real deal. The one and true It's Just Another Day, issue 1. Cover beautifully colored by Alex Heberling, who you would best know from her comic The Hues. Just stellar artist. Met her at Penguicon actually a few years back, and fell in love with her art right away. And she's a really cool person, so hit her up with coloring the cover, and she said yes. So she's who I have to thank, because believe me, I am nowhere near that good with color. So, It was great. So, in addition to that, I had it printed through Alternative Comics printing partnership. So the inside is beautiful newsprint, which I think fits perfectly with the like alternative slice of life style comic that I do, and have strived for to that feel. And since getting it out, since getting them in, I have them in various comic shops. I have confirmed, have them in Quimby's in Chicago, Desert Island Comics in Brooklyn, New York, Cape and Cowl Comics in Oakland, California, Chicago Comics, obviously in Chicago, Illinois, Mike's Comics in New Baltimore, and most recent, Orbital Comics in London, England. So, very excited about that. And issue 2 is coming this year, so I'm just honestly waiting to get that in the mail. So, very excited. This was a biggie for me. I'm very happy with it. Now, they say any artist worth their salt does and shouldn't be afraid to step outside their wheelhouse. So that kind of brings us into the next publication I did in 2019. Anyone who knows me knows that myself and my comic aren't necessarily family friendly. It's not what I grew up watching. It's really was never, in my realm of viewed items or anything. So doing a family-friendly comic was really outside my wheelhouse, but I think it went pretty well. There was a lot of inspiration that went into It's Just Another Day's Little Boy Jake comic zine. First off, Stanton Friedman had just passed away, so if anyone watched any sort of UFO or extraterrestrial show growing up, Stanton Friedman. He was always there to give his expertise on the topic, and always just a wealth of insight and information. So him passing away was something that, because I grew up with him in my living room every time I watched one of those shows, which was pretty frequent. And the book itself is about juggling intrigue and fear, in this case with aliens, because, true story, I was always very interested in aliens, read any book I could possibly get on the subject, but at the same time completely terrified, and my eyesight doesn't help. I was afraid of the dark way longer than I'd care to admit. Just because at night, you're sitting there in a dark room, and it's just like, without your glasses on, it's like, what was that? Did somebody just move in the corner? So I explore that in this, and I have Elle Whitcomb to thank for this as well. Even if she doesn't know it or not. She, first off, she's one of the masterminds over at Deepwater Comics? No, Deepwater Games. Deepwater Games? Yes, Deepwater Games. Yep, she's one of the masterminds over at Deepwater Games, and she posted something a while back about, like, family-friendly or kids' comics or something, and, that random thing that just, flips the switch in your head, like, wait a minute. So, thank you, Elle. Hope to meet you and give you a copy one day. Now, the last zine I did for Redford Comic-Con, awesome library-run, family-friendly convention. I love it, and I hope for it to be a regular convention for me in years to come. The next zine I did isn't a comic zine, actually. There's a whole lot of time, information, and a whole lot of story behind it that if I were to tell anybody, it would really kind of spoil the zine itself, but it is relating to the last album my father put out before he passed away, entitled Toxic Crunch. Anyone who has seen or heard it, it's a very well praised Nicodemus and Matches album. So this kind of tells the story of what led for it coming into being, and then a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff, because, Dad's health wasn't the greatest towards the end, so A lot of stuff was just there was some drama and a lot of things that kind of got left on the cutting room floor in the process, and not being of sound mind at the time, some of those things shouldn't have. So this tells the story and strives to set some things right as well. Plus, there's a lot of cool art in it. Toxic Crunch had been in the works for so long that there were seriously umpteen different covers and everything that went into it, so you get to see some of those in there. You get to learn a little bit about the creative minds involved and everything, and so I'm very happy with this one. And unlike my other ones, it's full color. So yeah, so this is this one holds a special place. And last but certainly not least, brought my 2019 list of publications to full circle, because the first one I did was Just Another Day number 0, which was my first step into being a zinester. And the final one I did for the year, well, I didn't do it personally, but I take part in it. Personally Yours, put out by the Midwest Perzine Fest. It's an up-and-coming convention coming this year in Chicago. And it's all about perzines, which, for those of you that don't know, per stands for personal. So any sort of zine where you're telling a personal story, life tale, that kind of thing, that would be a perzine. And this one, Personally Yours, everyone in it is telling a tale about how zines changed their lives. And there's some great reads in here, and one of which happens to be me. And I was very honored to make it into the zine, and it's great to have a copy of it. I got my copy from donating to the Midwest Perzine Fest GoFundMe, which is now closed because I believe they surpassed their goal by quite a bit. But if you want a copy, hit up Quimby's in Chicago. And that alone kind of is like the crown jewel on my 2019 publishing, because Quimby's is seriously a mecca of independent publishing and support in Chicago, and I have 2 things in their store, and that's just mind-blowing, especially for me, especially my first year starting out. So it's such a huge honor, and I seriously hope that I can match or surpass what I've accomplished in 2019 for this year. So, hey, for anyone watching, I appreciate the support. I appreciate you taking the time to watch my video and go over this. If you haven't read any of my work, hit me up. We'll figure out a way for you to. I've got The Year of Reflection, which is the sequel to It's Just Another Day, updating every Wednesday at bchcomics.com. I have, if you donate to my Ko-Fi, I will send you a copy of It's Just Another Day number 1. Stay close to my social mediums, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'll have links down below as well, because I'll be I have to update those pretty frequently, and they will have information when issue 2 comes out and any subsequent issues that will be coming out from there. Again, thank you for your time. BluRaven Houvener, peace out, and long live the underground.